AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio with me, Astrologer Shelley Overton. Each week we go over the planetary positions, discuss astrology, and take callers' questions. If you would like to call in and get a reading, you can call 347-994-3365. Call in early as the lines fill up. Welcome to the November 13th, 2018 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm the host, and I live in Orlando, Florida. It's good to be here with you. It's another time of day here in Orlando, although I do see some blue sky out the back window and clouds out the front. We've been having some rain coming in, and it says it's 75-degree day with rain and 86 for the high today. So it's going to be another warm one because Florida, and hopefully you're going to be warm where you are. I've got lots of different temperatures all the country, 49 in Phoenix and 11 degrees in Minneapolis. We've got 31 in Denver, and Texas has 31 in Fort Worth. England is 56 in Brighton. So that's kind of a rundown around the country a little bit. LA is 49 degrees right now. So we've got kind of a cross section today, but I'm going to be sweating. Anyway, let's get into a little bit of what's been going on. We've had, unfortunately, a lot of news events this past week, and the main one that I've been focusing on a lot is one that I mentioned a couple weeks ago that we would potentially see, and that is fires again. And we've got huge fires, like really, really big. I'm sitting here trying to explain how big they are to my daughter because I live on 5 acres, and the house I am in is on 1 acre. And it's 110,000 acres burning. And that was yesterday. I heard that. I don't know how many are burning today. But that's an enormous amount of land going up in flames. And the stories coming out of California have been heart-wrenching. People have died. It's the biggest fire they've had. 42 are killed, according to the news story right here. And they've been missing almost 250 people since the fires began a few days ago. So we've got Jupiter now at 1 degree Sagittarius, and of course that's a fire energy. And we have Mercury at 12 degrees Sagittarius, also the fire. And Mercury is about 3 days away from retrograding in Sagittarius, and it's going to be going back into Scorpio. So Mercury also rules thought and communications, electronics, and it rules paper goods, and in its in its air energy, which is Gemini, thought, and in its earth energy, which is Virgo, it rules material goods. So in both of those signs, it is adverse to Sagittarius. So Mercury right now is square to Virgo, square to Pisces, and opposite Gemini. So it's opposite one of its own signs, and it's square to the other one. So when it retrogrades, it's going to be a bit difficult energy for both Geminis and Virgos, and it is asking us to look at how we take action, the words we say, what our truth is, what we are doing about growth, spirituality, and our bodies, and what are we doing in the physical, taking action in a physical sense. So I'm kind of combining these two energies because Mercury is going to be joining back up with Jupiter here in the near future. Let's just look up and see when that'll be, because Venus goes direct on the 16th, and Mars goes into Pisces right around that day. I haven't actually looked up the time. Mars goes back into Pisces. Let's just look here. So the 15th. So on the 15th at 5:21 p.m. Eastern, 2:21 p.m. Pacific, Mars goes into Pisces. And then the next day, the 16th, Venus goes direct at 5:51 a.m. and Mercury retrogrades at 8:33 p.m. So in 2 days, Thursday and Friday, we have a shift of 3 quicker moving planets, which are the personal planets, meaning it connects us to people around us on our day-to-day life, in our day-to-day life. And so starting off with Mercury, because that's where we began this show, Mercury going retrograde is going to bring up issues around education, around travel, around the body, and like I said, taking action about nature. And it also is the energy of real estate and property. So I find it really interesting that Jupiter went into Sagittarius and so many houses were in the zone. It wasn't like just a forest went up, houses went down. So it kind of just reinforces what I've said since 2007 when Pluto went from Sagittarius into Capricorn and the housing market fell out. Sagittarius rules housing and real estate. So it's a really big energy around going back over something. So as far as what's going on with the fires, Mercury retrograding is going to affect the insurance and the property goods, of course. You know, do you have a record of your insurance papers? You know, a lot of us keep tangible files in the home. Do you have your files in a safe place in case something like this happens? Mine are in a safe, but they're not locked. They're in a safe, though. So there will be some safety if anything happened fire-wise, but can't guarantee it. Anyway, having Mercury retrograde, so going direct, it is about speaking the truth. Retrograde is about the potential opposite, which is lies and lying. And Mercury retrograde is going to try and backpedal and not necessarily want to look at the insurance costs in a true nature, in a true sense. It also means that, of course, we have to go back over something that we've done, and we have to reevaluate the things we've said. So it is an energy that initially may not take us to, because Sagittarius tends to fly above the cause and effect relationship sometimes, or maybe doesn't necessarily value it or engage with the consequences of actions. So when Mercury is retrograde, it's about not necessarily engaging with what was said and with what actions have been taken at the same time based on those words. And so when Mercury joins back up with Jupiter, Jupiter obviously was the initiating planet of these fires because it's an expander. Wherever it's at in the zodiac, it expands the energy. So it increased the energy of the fire element being a fire sign. It increased what's going on with education. I know someone, a friend of a friend, who is in college and considering what to do and are we on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? So it can make you wonder. It can tear up your world or expand the issues around education, around teachers. My daughter's school this past week, we get a lot of notifications from the principal about different things going on in the school. And apparently someone who used to teach at her school was arrested in another county for something, and apparently it had to do with an underage child. That's just a superficial understanding of what happened. But that kind of thing, again, it happened this week right after Jupiter went into Sagittarius, something around education. And so those are the themes of this energy right now, Jupiter. And for the next year, it is going to expand our awareness of spirituality, property. It could mean a move. It can mean a long-distance job offer. It can mean transition into a new piece of property or selling an old one. Taking a real estate class, which would be supremely in alignment with Jupiter and Sagittarius. So there are a lot of different rulership issues or events that are under Sagittarius and about Jupiter. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so it is a double dose. It is in its natural area of the zodiac, feeling comfortable. It's the rulership sign. So we are everywhere Jupiter goes, we get a very big dose of that energy that it's in. And so now we are all understanding what it's like to be a Sagittarian, to feel the extreme need for freedom and draw to go somewhere else and expand our horizons, expand our lives, expand our understanding and wisdom and knowledge. So Mercury is about how we do that in a physical sense, thoughts. And I guess, thoughts are kind of an interesting area too, because it's not a tangible. I mean, how do you hold a thought? Hold a thought in your hand. You don't see a thought, you have a thought. It's an impulse. So it's an energy. When Mercury goes back and joins with Jupiter, it will be about thinking of moving. And we've already done that. When Mercury went into Sagittarius, we were thinking about where we can expand our horizons. When Mercury goes back and joins Jupiter, it's about how am I going to do that? The urgency is going to get even stronger. And of course, Mercury goes back into Scorpio, which means once it gets to Scorpio, it's going to put us back in the depths of psychology and possibly fear. What is it that I am deeply afraid of having happen? What thing do I not want to happen because I don't necessarily value myself? And so we're going to go through that energy also briefly. I'm just looking here when it gets in. So from December 1st through the 13th, so the first 2 weeks of December, we're going to be back in Scorpio energy. And not only that, but Venus will also go into 0 degrees on the 3rd of December and be there for the whole month of December. And then, of course, Mars will be in Pisces, another water energy. Neptune is still in Pisces. And let's see, the North Node and South Node are now in the dynamic, the polarity of Cancer, Capricorn. So that adds to the water energy as well. It's a North Node, so it's going to be a transformation and transition in the home, in the family life, and around a fortunate event, fated fortunate event coming in. So having Mercury at the last degrees of Scorpio will be talking and trine to the nodes of fate. And the nodes of fate mean that it will be something that will change your life and change your world. And it is somewhat destined to happen. So a trine, again, I've talked about trines. Trines are a potentially positive aspect in the zodiac, but they also can bring a clash of sorts or an event that is uncomfortable because it is a growth event. So that is going to happen again towards the beginning of December. And it will be an emotional event. It will be a long, well, not long, a strong event. I'm going to see, let me see if, could anybody who's listening to me now, if you can hear me, please go in the chat room and let me know you can hear me. We have an unusually small amount of people in the queue right now, and that makes me concerned that I cannot be heard. And so I'm going to give that a minute or two. Nobody's going over there. So I'm going to really quick move over and recall the show in case that's not working. Okay. Hey, I bet you're wondering where I went. This is Shelley. I'm trying to get back on the air. So either I got knocked off, there was a power outage, or we're having difficulty with Blog Talk call-in. So whichever it is, I'm desperately trying to get back in. So please hang on a minute and we will get back ASAP. I will not leave you hanging. Thanks a lot. I think we're probably on air now if I was not before, and I hope that it was going well. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. This is Shelley. I am an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm the host of the AstroEnergy Astrology show here on Blog Talk. So, yeah, I don't know how much you could hear me. So I'm a little concerned about repeating myself, but I will synopsize what I was saying. And I haven't really gotten that far, thank goodness, to reiterate everything in the zodiac today. But I will tell you that Jupiter going into Sagittarius and Mercury about to retrograde back towards Jupiter in Sagittarius is going to expand that Sagittarian energy. It does rule the fires that are going on, and so it is about expansion. We really are understanding more what it's like to be a Sagittarian, and in that Sagittarius energy of having to move and be always on the go and have things happening. So it's going to be an interesting time, and that happens the first week of December when Mercury joins with Jupiter. And then, of course, Venus will be moving forward back into Scorpio, and so there will be some energy. Everything shifts in that early December week. So we'll have Venus go into Scorpio on the 3rd. We'll have Mercury at 29 Scorpio on the 2nd, and we'll have Neptune already at 13 Pisces, and the nodes in late degrees of Cancer opposite Capricorn. And then we have Mars in Pisces starting the 16th of this month, and Venus goes direct on the same day, and then just before Mercury retrogrades on the 15th. So it's going to be a very big time in November, in the middle of November, which is only a few days away. So 2 days away for Mercury retrograde and 3 days away for Venus shifting direction and Mars going into Pisces. So it's a lot of water energy that can shift from focus on the fire energy, not that it will go away in California, but it can shift the focus over to more rain and storm energy as we see this shift go more into water and away from some of the air energy and some of the fire energy. So we also have the Sun at 21 Scorpio, and of course Libra going back into Scorpio. Well, December is just going to be a Scorpio month. It's just a lot of energy going back in Scorpio. So Mercury will be going through there for the first 2 weeks. Venus will be there for the whole month. And Pisces will be in, Mars will be in Pisces for all of December. So we're going to have a really sentimental time. We're going to be focused on family, on nurturing, on emotions, on water, on money throughout the month of December. And of course, Mercury will not get Capricorn for a little bit. Let me just look and see when Mercury gets to Capricorn. Not in the beginning of the next year. So Mercury will be in Sagittarius all through December as well. So it's going to be about property. It's going to be about home, nurturing, taking action, potentially moving. All the energy of that node in Capricorn now, the North Node in Capricorn, North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn, late degrees, which is honestly the energy that we just felt from the moon in the last couple of days. So if you've been feeling kind of sad in the last couple of days or out of sorts with the moon energy, that's why, because the moon was joined with Pluto 2 days ago. I was going through, my Monday was just really low, and I'm very sensitive to the moon going through Scorpio because I have a Scorpio moon in my chart, but having the moon right next to the ruler of Scorpio, which is Pluto, definitely made me feel kind of sad and melancholy on Monday. So you may have felt that energy as well. Anyway, hopefully you all can hear me. And if you would like to call in, I should say this. You can call 347-994-3365 to get a reading. And so we'll take calls here in a little bit after I get to my topic of the day, which is infinite realities. which I know is not really an astrology thing, but it kind of piggybacks the whole concept of understanding energy in a universal sense. Okay, so getting back to what's going on in the sky right now, we have squares all over the place. We have Venus squaring the moon today. Actually, let me double check that. Yeah, Venus is at late degrees Libra. I was checking because Venus is in an air sign, and the moon just went into the air sign of Aquarius, like this morning, right away. Today, I'm going to just flip my ephemeris over here. Today is the 13th at 10:45 a.m. Okay. Let me just look. 10:45 a.m. Oh yeah. My gosh, I don't know why I was thinking it was before 10. Probably because I was looking at the clock earlier today. Anyway, so eclectic, eccentric energy and scattered energy can come in now with Aquarius. So the moon's in Aquarius, triggering science, triggering mathematics, eccentricity, unusual things, the unexpected, the masses, the collective consciousness, and truth and awareness. It is expanding what we know to be true and what we understand, and it's trying to get us to be aware of things that we have not been aware of before. It can also mean there's a detachment from mom or from the home and family energy. Aquarius is about our soul group. So it can mean an expansion of connection to the soul group, but also some type of emotional detachment to collective, but definitely putting more energy into individuality within the collective. We've got a square, like I said, between Moon and Venus, which means that there is a detachment in relationships. And it's interesting, I've seen evidence of that in my environment in the last couple of days, also, specifically last night. But we can pull back from our partners with this energy. That's what the moon does. I've got 2 kids with Moon in Aquarius, and they are both susceptible to that detachment from being around mom at certain times, and even just being nurtured. Like, I can do it myself. Don't tell me what to do. I'm my own person. You can feel that energy as well. Pluto, still late degrees Capricorn, well, after the center, which is 15 degrees. So it's at 19 Capricorn, and that means that we are still in this process of understanding hierarchy and control and our place in that. Are we in control? Do we feel in control? What is the psychology of the fear if we fall out of control? Definitely, I think that as time goes on, is going to feel this more and more because he has Pluto in Leo. So the people of his generation in the early to mid 70-year-old range are going to feel an inconjunct, which is 150 degrees, also known as a quincunx. But it's 150 degrees apart, and that means that it's an uncomfortable degree. It's not a cooperative degree and not one where we can relate or we really have anything in common. It is a degree of any 2 planets 150 degrees apart, or signs, planets in a sign, that are not necessarily resonating to each other and don't really get each other in any way, shape, or form. And I can tell you, even signs that are opposite or square have something in common. But signs that are 150 degrees apart, it's really difficult to find commonalities with. So it is an uncomfortable energy, an uncomfortable distance, and it can also mean that there are things that happen to us that we really don't like and don't want to have happen. So the generation of Pluto and Leo is really feeling this Pluto energy as it goes through Capricorn. And it's uncomfortable because the energy of Pluto and Leo is about larger than life. It's about children, but it's also about the psychology of children and not necessarily growing up, maybe a bit of a Peter Pan complex. And it can make us feel like we're not really part of the collective, or people don't understand us on a deeper level. And the motivations can definitely be more towards youthful or even juvenile behavior attitudes, and not necessarily. So it's more related to the teenage years and not necessarily getting past that. So having Pluto in Capricorn is very much about being responsible and owning behavior and owning everything you can, being responsible to your whole environment. So it just runs counter or agitates the energy of Leo. So if you have any other planets in Leo, you're going to be really feeling this energy as well as Pluto goes through every degree of that sign. Specifically, let's see, 19 degrees is just past the center. So it would be people born at the beginning of August. They're feeling this energy a little bit stronger right now. And the authority or hierarchy is really challenging how those people look at their more playful natures or their creative natures. What is it that you're doing creatively? Anyway, I'm going to try and get through this a little bit quicker because I'm not sure if the beginning recorded. Anyway, that kind of extended the time I was going to do this for. 28 degrees, Mars in Aquarius. So that's N degrees of Aquarius. Quite honestly, it's right on my progressed Saturn, so this should be interesting. It's an ending of storylines. It's an ending of taking action around the collective ideology. And interestingly, I want to bring this up. I did a blog on Angelic Zodiac, which is my new website that I'm pretty much moving into. You can still find it at astrologerangel.com, but Angelic Zodiac is my main website now. And I did a blog post this past week about the election. But what I found, which was quite interesting, is that Mars, the day of the election, and also I want to say Mercury, I can't remember exactly. It's on the article. Oh, Uranus and Mars, they will actually be triggered. Mars is moving forward and will join where Uranus was the day of the election, and the sun will be on the degree that Mars was at on the day of the election, which is 24 degrees in February, on February 13th. So if you want to find out more about that, the article basically mentions this was written, I think, around 2 p.m. on the day of the election. It has to do with something coming out that's unusual that will not get resolved until February. So now looking back, it's probably the counting of votes in different states and may not really get resolved until February. But anyway, that was an interesting aspect that I stumbled onto. So if you want to find out about that, go to angeliczodiac.com. It's the most recent blog that I put up last week. Okay, let me see if there's anything else I can touch on right now. There's a late trine between the Sun in Scorpio and Neptune. So again, it's more moving towards your ideals, moving towards your inner truth, and finding value in creativity, which is a really strong energy around Pisces. Pisces is about the artist and also about the archivist and wanting to keep common threads to the past. So let me see. Late degree Venus retrograde back in Leo, squaring the moon today, trining Mars today. It is about relationships. It's about moving on and really listening to your truth. Venus retrograde means that you're going back over some issues that you've had in the past with that partnering, and Mars in Aquarius is at the end of something that you're putting it to rest by taking action at your final actions towards it, while the moon for the next 2.5 days is somewhat reinforcing the independence and autonomous viewpoint you've had around pulling back in a friendship, in a business situation, in making changes to where you want to be with other people. I talked to someone last night that I had interactions with when Mars was just at the beginning of that sign, and it's really exciting. I'm very interested in getting some more things going. It could be really good for career with this person. So I'll let you know a little more in the next couple months about that. Okay, let's get to the topic at hand. And give me a second. I'm just going to take a quick sip here. Hang on. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about infinite realities. And it's not necessarily an astrological topic, but those who've listened to the podcast for a while kind of know that get these downloads a couple days before the show, and this was no exception. I actually had all this information at the top of my mind, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do a show about infinite realities. And the reason is because as Pluto moves closer to Aquarius, and because we also have Mars in Aquarius, it brings up these kind of quantum topics or eclectic ideas that we are moving to as a collective. And even though I talk astrology, I guess if you put it under the header of Aquarius or Uranus, quantum reality is really where we're headed. And quantum reality just means that we understand things from a universal viewpoint, not in a linear fashion, meaning everything's lined up and organized, but everything comes at us from many different angles and many different energy patterns, and we just understand it and integrate it from whatever source we get it. So talking about infinite reality kind of goes along with that. And so infinite reality is the idea that there is no one reality timeline. We have infinite reality timelines, and that we bop from one reality to another. I've talked about this a little bit in the past, probably associated with Aquarius, but when there's an idea in quantum physics, I don't know, maybe it isn't quantum physics as much as quantum ideology, but the idea that we all in every moment are continually shifting from one idea to another. So where it kind of started in modern thinking is the idea of The Secret, or the video. I had the video. So The Secret was about the law of attraction. The law of attraction means that you can, by thinking about something, bring it into your reality. And part of what that is that you vibrate to an idea. When you vibrate to that idea, you start to see it more and more. And so what that means is, like in my reality, I've been seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, and like, okay, and there about 12 years ago, I was seeing 11, 11. I still see 11, 11. I saw it today as I was talking, but you start to notice something, and that could be your higher self talking to you, but it's coming into your reality. It's coming into your awareness. When you start putting more thought on it, it gets bigger and bigger. And so, like, if you see a red car and you're like, oh, there's a red car, and you notice it, then a little bit later, you'll notice it again. Well, how come all these red cars are around? And for me, it's Texas license plates. So I've been seeing Texas plates everywhere. So obviously, it's a message from our higher selves or from spirit that there's something here that we are trying to understand and be aware of. But in noticing something, we vibrate to the reality that has more of it. And there's a book called Easy World. Is it Easy World? I think it's called Easy World. I have it. I should have looked it up, but it just kind of came into my mind. Anyway, it's a really cool idea. The book talks about the idea that if you put out into the universe that you're going to have an easy time of things, you will attract it back. And that's where you will be. So when you're having a difficult time, you're like, you know what? I'm going to vibrate into Easy World or Easyville, or, give it the name of your choice. But once you focus on it being easy, that's your vibration. You have to immerse yourself in that vibration, and you will attract more of it. So anyway, I was just writing some ideas down here. So I wrote down IRE, which is the Infinite Reality Experiment. And when it also stands, I don't even think I'm going to talk about that part. It's kind of silly. So I'm just going to blow by that little note. So all paradigms or all reality, that means that reality is the moment you're living in, this now. It's a series of nows. Whatever your reality is, the timeline of your reality is a series of nows. Every thought, every choice you make shifts you to a new reality, and you experience that reality. if you have the choice to be in any reality at any second, at any moment, why wouldn't you choose to be in a reality that supports you instead of the one that's filled with fear and that you attract more negativity? Well, we all have our belief systems and we have our reasons, and mostly they are patterns that we've had over time and we've continually felt comfortable in, and so we go back to those again and again. But living consciously is about choosing where you want to go in every single moment, and it is honestly and never ending, every single moment making a decision to live a better, more expanded life. That's how you get where you want to go. So every paradigm exists now. There is only the now. This is a very big current idea in metaphysical circles. Not going to say, I'll say it, but I'm not going to use New Age as the idea, but you get what I mean. So esoterica, I like that word, esoterica. So right now, the idea that everything happens in now, because there is no linear time. That's a construct of the reality we've all collectively agreed upon. We have a moment, we only ever live in the now. So now is where you make the choice. So having a disease or eating healthy, having money versus scarcity. When we are frustrated with what is external, we are frustrated in our own belief. It is an externalization of that belief, meaning we project it out to our environment and blame our environment instead of owning it, because the idea of owning it is so uncomfortable. It's not us that's at fault, quote unquote. It's out there somehow. But that's not really how it is. Ownership is freeing, because you say, okay, what if I am this person who's critical or analytical? That's part of my nature. It's part of what I came in to understand. Then once you own it, nobody can say, oh, you're critical. You're like, yeah, I'm critical. It gives me the ability to analyze things, and we can put positive attributes on that seemingly negative behavior. When we express it out to other people and start to tell other people how to live, that's when it becomes negative, because then we're challenging the other person's belief system about themselves. But not only are we challenging the belief system about themselves, they're having to understand their own motivations and their own belief system from a first person point of view. So it's this huge collective of interactions based on, am I owning my own stuff or am I projecting it out? And so it's all pretty involved, I guess. But I just wanted to mention that we do project our own issues out. And when people trigger us, and I was listening to this really cool psychic or medium on YouTube this week, and I think her name is Amanda Ellis. And so anyway, Amanda, she's a British medium and psychic, and she has a really wonderful channel on YouTube. And she's been talking about having the law of attraction in your life, or experiencing how to interact with what's going on in the world now, and how we see ourselves reflected in the other. And so really what our world is doing right now, and this is me talking, this is my own idea, is we are projecting. Every time we're triggered by what's going on politically, we're projecting that onto the environment, because we're saying it's happening out there and look at how awful it is. But really, if we get real with why we're so bothered by it, then it doesn't trigger us as much. And quite honestly, it removes that attraction into our world. So I've been trying to do that as well with the politics of the moment, and seeing how much it is annoying to have the situation right now that bothers me most is injustice to people of color. And that we are not just accepting that this country is made up of a collection and an amalgamation of people from different cultures coming together. And we've had a history for 250 odd years of basically white Anglo-Saxon normality. And yet we still attract in Italians, we attract in Muslims and Middle Easterners and South Americans and people from all over this globe. And yet somehow, because white America has been the norm and people of color are getting more in multitude, we somehow feel that we're in the right, even though we're all from other countries. So the truth is, we're all part of the mix, and it's shifting because this timeline has people of color from all over the world coming. And the beauty of America is that we are a mix of different cultures. So it's the reality, and we're having a hard time letting go of the old paradigm. But the shift in reality is that collectively we are getting to an awareness that we are all humans, and that's Aquarian, and that's the new paradigm. So it kind of all comes together when you think this is the reality, we're all living it. If you're living in that reality and hearing my voice, you're part of my paradigm and I'm part of yours. But we all have individual paradigms that we live day to day, and those day-to-day paradigms can shift as well. We're shifting as a collective, and we're shifting as an individual person. And everything that comes into our lives can be shifted. And so really what the individual or the infinite reality experiment is I want you, everybody who's listening to this, in the next week, think of something that you would like to vibrate into your world. And it can be big, but try going smaller a little bit. Like you want to have $10 come into your reality. And I actually had that this week. I was standing in line at Target, looked down, and there was $10 wrinkled up right near my foot. So I, of course, put it in my hand, closed off the amount, and asked the lady ahead of me if her son had dropped some money, if he had money in his pocket. Because if he had, I was going to ask the denomination, and if they knew it, then I would give it back. But she said no, he didn't, and she didn't either. So there was no one around and other than them. So I kept the money, and it was $10. So I had an extra $10, which was really amazing. So this week, choose something. Does not have to be money, but just something to test this theory. Looking at the sky going, I really can't stand clouds. I want to be in a beautiful blue sky day. I've done that too. And you can vibrate that into your reality. So anyway, in the next week, pick something and focus on it and see how much of it comes to your world. And I would really like to hear how that goes next week for you. Anyway, I've got a couple callers waiting. I'm going to get to you. I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back and take your calls.
You and Jupiter conspire to get me. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right. I think you and the moon and Neptune got it right.
and welcome back. I just cut that song a little bit short today because I ran so long, but I just want to let you know that is a song by my friend Tracy Coriel. It's called Cinderella, and if you're interested in finding out more about it, you can go to her website, tracyland.com. It's TracyLand.com. Anyway, I am Shelley Overton, and you are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology Show on Blog Talk Radio. And if you would like to get a private reading from me, you can get me at angeliczodiac.com or astrologerangel.com. So real quick also, I just wanted to let you know that I have my book released on my website. I have not released it broadly yet, but it is on my website in ebook form, and it's in the upper right-hand corner, the link that says Learn Astrology. And if you would like to go get it, you can use a discount code, which gives you $5 off, and it's just for my listeners, and it's AstroE. So the word Astro and the letter E. And you put that in the discount, and you get $5 off, and that's just for my listeners through Thanksgiving. And so if you'd like to get it, it's there now. So I'm going to take some calls now. Let's see who we have. 918. Hi, 918. How are you?
Hi, Shelley.
Hi, who is this?
I popped over. This is Penny.
Hi, Penny. I've got you here.
Over...
I thought it was.
Okay.
So you've what?
I popped over to tell you I could hear the show.
Oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you. Yeah, so you probably heard before I broke away. Is that true?
Yes, that's right.
Awesome. So I didn't lose anything. Okay, good. Because I was concerned because I really don't have a lot of callers, and I promoted it today, but there aren't a whole lot of people in today, and that happens once in a while. But probably because Mercury's getting ready to retrograde. Anyway, what can I do for you today besides that?
I just would like a little mini reading if you see anything in my chart that pops out at you.
Okay, well, the thing that's popping out at me right now is the fact that you have Mars coming up on your Saturn, and it's right there. So I'm guessing you were born, I think I remember this, you were born just like 2 weeks before I was, almost to the day. And so you've got also, by progression, your Saturn is in late degrees Aquarius also. So Mars is really helping wrap up some kind of story around a relationship issue or marriage or money from marriage, you know, like joint finances, that kind of thing. It's in your the eighth house of finances in the marriage. And it can also be legalities or death and rebirth. It can be legacies from an inheritance. But your Saturn is there natally, and that means that you have this really strong connection to the process of dying and being aware of what happens in that process and after that process. And so Mars is really triggering you right now to go to the next level with your career and make that change that you've been thinking about. It's also about valuing that career, and having Saturn at early Pisces is kind of difficult, especially early Pisces retrograde, because that means that you're having to, it's kind of difficult. The opposite of Pisces is Virgo. So Virgo is the work sign of the zodiac and the workaholic. And Saturn in Pisces is the opposite. It's more of allowing things to come to you and not going out and working yourself to death, but really understanding the intuitive alchemist side of things. If you think about how Pisces falls in the zodiac, it's right after Aquarius, which is the sign of chemistry. And so what happens is the next house or the next sign, Pisces, would be the second house from Aquarius, which is about manifesting and making something happen. So it is the alchemist of the zodiac, and Saturn is life purpose. So you're having this energy come in that's very alchemical, or wanting you to understand how you can manifest things through understanding energy. And that's a huge part of your life, especially having Saturn in the eighth house, which is like a psychological house, a water sign house. And so it's about being very intuitive and bringing that intuitive energy into your career and understanding people, understanding motivations of people, and knowing how to work with people in a social sense. I want to tell you, someone I know has a sociology, and sociology is kind of that realm. It's like understanding behaviors and what makes people tick in an intuitive sense. So Mars right now in Aquarius is wrapping up the whole story around electrical energy, mental energy, and almost anxiety around the interaction with people. And it's bringing it, like I said, this week in 2 days, into the realm of water, and it will be much more visceral, much more emotional, but it's also a process of releasing and letting go for the next story, which for you falls into the house of travel and the Sagittarius house, but it's the majority of your Pisces energy in that Sagittarius house. So it's about spirituality and connectedness to a broader understanding of things. So that's a lot coming in for you around career and awareness and where you're heading. Does that make any, well, is it relevant to you?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Well, that's kind of, and also having Saturn and Capricorn in positive aspect to your natal Saturn is giving you the tangible ability to do that. It's going through your house of work. It's in a very linear, grounded energy, which is only helping you. And when Mars goes into Pisces, it conjuncts your Saturn and it sextiles natal Saturn or transiting Saturn. So you're really in a wonderful spot to bring in some kind of new work/career endeavor and really actually have it take off. Okay?
Okay.
So congratulations. That's
well,
awesome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you for letting me know about the show, and I hope you have a wonderful week.
Sure.
Okay, take
You
care.
too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, let's take 561. Hi, 561. How are you, and who is this?
Hey, Shelley. This is James from Miami.
Hey, James. I knew it was you. I got you up here too. I'm in the game today. I'm all about it. What's going on, James?
Oh my gosh, I don't even have the words to explain what's going on. I just kind of feel like, I feel like just generally, and this has been happening for probably the last several months. There's this feeling of like this inner warrior in me, right? And he pops out every now and again. And I've been feeling it more strongly, but it's been really hard tapping into it well enough to actualize that in my life, because I feel like my life is just like a watery, I manage personalities all day. I manage expectations all day. It's like a watery energy. So I just want to know if this inner warrior energy is something I'm supposed to tap into, or is this something I'm supposed to blend, or what the hell is going on?
Okay, so what you're talking about is your Mars. Your Mars is at early Taurus, so it's at 11 degrees Taurus. Uranus, which rules Aquarius, is in your Aquarius house, the 11th house, in the sign of Aries now. It just got back into Aries in the last week or so, and it was in Taurus. So it was triggering your natal Mars as soon as it went into Taurus earlier this year, and I'm just going to look it up real quick. It went into Taurus. It's longer ago than I thought. Did it really? Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been there. No, that's 2018. Wow, has it really? It's been May. I can't believe it's been since May. Anyway, so Uranus was in Taurus in May, which meant it was going forward, going towards your Mars, and Mars is your male energy, your warrior, and then it retrograded, but when it retrograded, it went back into Aries, which Mars rules. So it is still in that warrior place, and then you have 3 planets in Aries, and that's in your house of soul group, 2 of them, Mercury and Venus. So how you think and what your desires are at the same degree in Aries. They're at 16 Aries. So those are really your warrior for justice and for the collective, for your soul group. You want to take action towards something with your soul group. And then your sun is in Aries, so that's in your house of career. Now, that being said, Mars is at 28 Aquarius right now, and that's in your higher understanding and educational house. In Aquarius, it's really triggering you to understand a download of information that will help you in your career, because when it gets into Pisces, like I said, in 3 days, it's going into your the sign of your midheaven, which is your career house and your fame point. So it's going to put you in the spotlight because of your intuition, because of the connectedness to the watery energy. And then Mars joins up with your Neptune. There's a really interesting energy in your chart right now. Neptune at your midheaven is an energy I always look to retirement for, okay? So if you're not retiring, it is definitely a shift in career and something that changes your life completely. Mars is the action taker, and it was there a couple of years ago, and it's back again because it takes about 2 years to go through the zodiac, and it's triggering Neptune again. Every 2 years, it's going to trigger your Neptune until Neptune is out of that house, and that's going to be quite a while because you have 13 Aries at the end of your house of career. So every couple of years, you're going to feel this like, I've got to do something here. What you've got to do, make a shift around your intuition and what you know to be true and what you're bringing in on a psychic level. And you are very psychic. As a career, as a backup to your career, you have Neptune in Capricorn, which is hierarchy of organizations and structure. It's in your house of marriage. You need to partner with something that's very stable. And then you have transiting Neptune up there now. And interestingly, Neptune natally is in Capricorn, which is the career house ruler, and then you have transiting Neptune in that house. So your natal Neptune's in the sign of where Neptune is residing right now, which is, so I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but they're basically talking to each other. They're basically trying to make something happen for you on an esoteric level for your career. Again, the alchemist energy coming in for you for your career and life purpose. So, pretty big. Mars joining your Neptune. Wow. It's like, no, this is my dream. I have to make my dream happen. And it started when, let me see, it will start, let me back up. It will start when Mars goes into Pisces, because then it will exactly sextile your natal Neptune at 3 degrees. Then it keeps going on to 10 more degrees at Neptune, and it will actually say, okay, now let's do it. So it's coming in for you. It's pretty big.
Wow.
And may also have to do, because of the position of your natal Neptune in the marriage house, Saturn is within 3 degrees of your natal Neptune in marriage, and then Pluto just went into commitment for you, and then Neptune and Mars are joining up in career. So everything being triggered in your chart, making your dreams come true, having the kind of career of your dreams, and also a partner that is your ideal partner, that the universe is saying, make it happen. Are you in a relationship?
I'm in a relationship, but I feel like it's a Saturn relationship, and we've talked a little bit about this before. Like, this is something I need to move on from. And what happened at work recently, so I work for a legislator, and I'm his special aide, but it almost feels like I'm the but it almost feels like I'm the deputy chief of staff, because the place is chaotic. There's a lot of personality to manage, and the chief of staff isn't really a manager per se. Right. And they've even switched my position, and I'm not very excited about it, but it just feels like this masculine leadership energy is really coming through. I know that this is not the place, but it's coming through, and it's like, damn it, I got to put my hands to something. I got to do something.
You do. And when Mars hits Pisces, so literally the 15th, this coming weekend and into next week is really when you're going to start feeling it very strongly. So let me just look back. Actually, I think you may have already, was Mars in Pisces yet this year? No, it hasn't been there yet. So Mars is going to hit Neptune in your career house, and that's really like, by taking the action, the universe will support you, and your chart really shows that. Jupiter just went into Sagittarius in your house of work. Mercury is going to like I said earlier, it's really interesting you said that you work for a legislator, because a lot of what's going on astrologically in your house of work relates to that kind of dynamic of what's going on in Florida with all the elections and everything. So Mercury is, like I said earlier on the show, the Mercury retrograde is recounting of the votes, and then it's going to be direct again, and then all the planets are going to align in February, and new information will come about, and things will take off then. So part of your chart is also dealing with that same energy because of that Uranus retrograde in your house of money from career and soul group. And then Mars is going to be where the election was in your house of money from career and soul group. So it's really basically the manifestation of what's happening in your career. So I would say January is going to be super big for you also because, January, like I said, I don't know if you're affected by the recount or the votes or anything. You said a legislator. So is this someone who is staying in the job?
Yeah, he's going to stay. It's local.
Okay.
I work for a local office. But, he has connections, but it's just been – and Florida is a Pisces sign.
I didn't know that. I haven't looked it up.
When you said that, when I thought about that, so it's like, what the hell?
Oh, my. Yeah, I've got a book here. I'll just tell you, Horoscopes of the U.S. States and Cities. And it does tell – well, I'll look it up. I mean, it could be. Let me see here. I'm in Orlando. It's the page before Orlando, of course, because alphabetical. So, oh, no, that's Miami. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can get the Florida one. It should have, Florida. Oh, now I got to get my glasses on. Sorry. Okay.
You're like me.
Yeah, it is a Pisces state, 13 degrees Pisces, and that's exactly where Neptune is. Oh, my gosh, no wonder. I didn't even look that up. Thank you for pointing that out. It's literally Neptune, the planet of illusion, is retrograde on our sun in Florida. No wonder we're having issues with this election. Yep, and guess what? Guess where our Mercury is? 1 degree away from Mars right now. So our Mercury is at 27 Aquarius, and our Venus is at 24. That's so interesting. We have a Neptune-Venus conjunction in Florida at 24 Aquarius, which is where Mars was on the day of the election.
Oh,
how
my God.
That? You added another dimension. I'm going to have to go rewrite my blog. I just wrote a whole blog about this series. That's pointing that out. So I just love when things like that happen. But no, you're definitely tied into some of this with the planetary positions in your chart too. But for you, a lot of it comes out with it will come out with ultimately what you're going to do. And I would say, like I said about my blog, the 13th of February is significant because Mars will be where it was on election day. Mars will be where Uranus. Let's see. No, the sun will be where Mars was, and Mars will be on Uranus the day of the election. So the shift of the planet. So it's a very significant time, and Mars is significant for your career because it will be right there at that transition point in your Aquarius house. So there'll be some unexpected things coming up in early next year for you, but definitely in the next 2 weeks is very significant for your Mars going through Pisces. For the whole month of November, December, that's where the action's happening for you. And it's in positive aspects for your relationship as far as owning what you want to do. It's a very strong time to own what you're going to do in the relationship. So whether that's stay or go, this is like a moment in time that you have to really pay attention to. The South Node, let me see, the moon just went across the South Node. So what happened for you yesterday was significant. And, you may have even had a fight with someone yesterday with her. Yesterday? I don't know. You got a lot of moon energy right on your Pluto, Vesta, and South Node. So that was pretty significant. So.
Wow, incredible. And does it say what I should be doing in terms of career? Because I know it can't be government. It just cannot.
Saturn in Scorpio is actually therapy too.
No.
It can be therapy. So if you want to do like psychology, it's research, psychology, death and rebirth. It could be mediumship, especially with Pisces at the midheaven. You could do, psychic stuff. You have Uranus and Sagittarius in the house of work, which is also the combination is unusual means of ministry. So, finding some type of spiritual center that resonates to you. And that's coming in even more because Jupiter just got to Sagittarius. And by the end of the year, Jupiter will be on your Uranus. So there's an opportunity to do something unusual, which is Uranus, far away, which is Sagittarius. So there are some opportunities in realms you didn't anticipate. And that's also Uranus through your 11th house. But I can tell you, I can go on and on with your chart. You've got a lot of stuff going on. If you want a private reading, contact me.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Anyway.
Yes, I need to.
I know. We have so much to talk about.
Oh, my God. Thank you so much for this. Thank you. And so I was like, what the is going on?
That's it. For those who heard that, it sounds like he edited him, so he censored himself. It went, like, seriously sounded like it skipped over the word. That's too funny. Anyway, well, James, it's always good talking to you. And
thank you.
Please contact me if you want more. I would love to do it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. You take care. Thanks. Have a good time this week. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks. Okay, that's the end of the show. Thank you so much for being here this week. And I think I already have next week's idea up. I just have to get the show up, and then I can't even remember what it is off the top of my head, but I knew it was something significant. Probably shift in planets for sure. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Take care. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.